Glory to God. Let's give Jesus a better hand clap. A better hand clap. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Glory to God. I must say I'm very honored to be here today. Hallelujah. My name is Ntale Grace. For those who don't know me, I am a vet by profession, and together with my wife, we lead a ministry called Nisi Discipleship Ministries International that is based in Kasenge, Mbalala Mkono. Hallelujah. It is a daughter ministry of Doves of Destiny Ministries International based in Maganjo, of Apostle Brian Frederick Chisubi. That's my spiritual father. And when I'm at breakthrough, I'm at home. Hallelujah. Musumba. When I'm at breakthrough, I'm at home. Yes. So I want to take this privilege to thank Pastor Noah and Pastor Flavia Sematimba and all the pastors of Breakthrough Miracle Life Church and Breakthrough Ministries. Thank you so much for believing in us. My wife sends greetings. I am married and I have a wife who is a woman, and we have 6 children. Hallelujah. So if you're clapping, please real clap. Eh? And the good news is that one time, I don't know when, but one time we will have the 7th one. Uh-huh. And I'm not saying this just because I want to, mama, he wants to have 7 children. No. God spoke to us even before we got married. And we inquired of him and said, how many children should we have? He said 7, 4 boys and 3 girls. And we have 4 boys and 2 girls. So you receive in Jesus' name. Amen. Glory to God. That's why I say that we are waiting for the 7th one, and that 7th one will be a girl. There's no need to prophesy, Pastor Marcus. There's no need to prophesy. Even mathematics is enough. If God said 7, and then he said 4 boys, 3 girls. And it is not us who determine that this time we should have a boy or a girl. And now we have the 4 boys, we have the 2 girls. Amen. Those who did mathematics, say amen. Hallelujah. Glory to God. I'm always blessed. By the way, my wife sent you greetings. This is not just generated. Sometimes we generate it when you are standing here and say, they've sent you greetings. But this one is, I am delivering a message from her. This is direct from her through me. Hallelujah. We love Breakthrough Ministry, Miracle Life Ministries so much. We've been together for a long time with Pastor Noah and Flavia Sematimba. Hallelujah. I have seen this ministry birthed. I saw it birthed. And we were there, if we can say we were the midwives. Hallelujah. And seeing the fight has come, I feel honored and I feel privileged to be part of it. This ministry has been of great support to us. From the time we began ours in 2019 up to now. I remember that time when we came here and Pastor Noah just invited us and said, please come and can you come to Breakthrough? So all we were thinking about was we are coming to minister. Then when we reached, little did we know that they had bought a set of machines for us, you see, and we didn't have them. But God put it upon their hearts, and they did it, and it was a blessing. And I must tell you, As I will be at the end of the sermon, you will see some people that are enjoying the service of those. Hallelujah. So I want I appreciate God for every seed sown in the ministry of Nisi Discipleship Ministries International. And God is doing great work, really great work through us. And we thank God that we went there. He has proved that he sent us. Hallelujah. So we'll look at that later. Today, I want to share with you briefly about what I've called the principle of partnership. The principle of partnership. There are many principles that govern life. But today, I felt it upon my heart to share this principle of partnership. Hallelujah. Glory to God. Father, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you in the name of Jesus for your presence that is here. And we thank you for your spirit that is ever with us. Even now, as we share your word, Lord, I pray that you take charge. I subject this moment to the lordship and leadership and the influence of the Holy Spirit. Speak to us as you have desired in Jesus' name. Amen. Yes, I want to welcome you all that are watching us online. We love you. We treasure you in Jesus' name. So as I said that there are many principles in life. But today I want to concentrate on the principle of partnership. You see, my spiritual father was one time talking and said, laws are given to children. Principles are given to the adults. And systems are given to the mature. Hallelujah. You know, to the young ones, all you have to do is don't do this, don't do that. That is it. And all they have to do is to obey, to follow, whether they understand it or not, whether they love it or not. You see? When we were still young, they used to tell us, don't sit on those cooking stones. Some of you don't know them because you are used to gas cookers and then what else? Ovens, microwaves. But those guys used to make 3 cooking stones upon which they would put the saucepan, and then fire would under, and that's how they used to cook. So they used to tell us, don't sit on those cooking stones. They would tell us, don't sew at night. You see? And they used to attach something bad on it. And then they say, don't trip at night. They will call you a wizard or a night dancer. I mean, they gave instructions. They gave laws. And that we all just followed. Because that's what they told us. We had to obey. But there was an underlying principle. There was a principle behind it. And if you understood it, you would obey with a contented heart. And you would even know why you are not doing it. Therefore, you would do it with knowledge. Then you could actually at one time even do it without any repercussion. Yes, this is it. Even in salvation, when you come to understand principles behind every command of God, you will end up doing certain things and people will wonder why, and there are certain things you will never do. You understand? As in, if I had understood early enough that sitting on, the reason why they were preventing me from sitting on the cooking stone was that being a child, sometimes I would not tell that this stone is what? It's hot. And by the way, save for you people, some who have grown up in town and maybe in a well-off-to-do home, but some of us used not to put on and shorts. No pants, because it will be a waste of resources. So imagine coming with with your bam bam bear, and then you sit on a hot stone. You see? But there are times when they were not hot. So if you understood the principle behind it, all you would do is come and check whether it is hot or not, and you sit. You see? This is it. They used to tell us, make sure you don't sew at night. Don't sew clothes at night. Of course, some people don't know how to sew. Eh? When you have a tear, you either buy a new one, a new cloth, or you take it to the sewing machine. But for us, we were even taught how to sew using threads and those needles. But if you did it at night, and moreover, those days, there was no electricity. We were using the turnovers, those candles. This, moreover, not this new type, the other ones of the old version. You understand? So you could not see well. At the end of the day, you'll end up piercing yourself. And if you don't do that, you will do it in a crooked way. So, but if you understood, then you could come closer to the light, and you would see. The same with sweeping. When they tell you don't sweep they don't sweep at night, you just cram it and you follow it. Even if you find a lot of dirt you don't sweep at night. You see? But if you understood that, because they knew that being a child, if you swept at night, you would do unclean work. So what they had to tell them is that don't sweep at night. You wait until it is day, where there is enough light. This is the same thing with us. When you grow up in salvation, you cease operating by just laws. You now operate by principles. You do things on principle. There are many commands in the Old Testament. Some of them don't apply to us now, but the principles behind them are working for us, and they work for us. Hallelujah. So, one of the principles of life is the principle of partnership. Now, when we talk about partnership, the definition is that a partnership is a form of business where two or more people share ownership as well as the responsibility for managing the company and the income or losses the business generates. We are defining it in business terms. It is a form of business where two or more, now we are talking about two or more people, share ownership. Now, so in partnership, one, we share ownership. Two, we share responsibility for managing. Three, we share income. And four, we share losses. I've said we share ownership, we share responsibility for managing, we share income and losses. Some people say, Mukama gojo kuswala. Oh God, if you don't do it, you will be ashamed. Not if you are in partnership with him. If there is any shame, you share it. You understand? So when we read 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 1, Paul talks about this kind of partnership. Let's read it in NLT. In NLT, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 1. It says, as God's partners, we beg you not to accept this marvelous gift of God's kindness and then ignore it. You see? Today, my major concern there in that scripture is that part, God's partners. Give us let's have it in another translation, and we see what they refer to as partnership there. Any other translation? Hallelujah. Glory to God. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Okay. And working together with him, we also urge you not to receive the grace of God in vain. Working together with, other translations say as co-laborers, as co-workers. Workers together with him. Paul tells us that we are, of course he was referring to himself and the people he was with, but this applies to all of us. We are partners with God. Now, there is what we call divine partnership and human partnership. I am not talking about human partnership. You see, when you look around, you will realize that everywhere there is partnership. Everywhere. And if anything is going to move on, there has to be partnership. Some people call it networking. Yes. There has to be partnership. That's why you see, even when you're going to have a family, you need a what? A partner in that matter. You find people doing business, they will need a partner. If you operate a business alone, it won't go beyond a certain level. If it is going to go beyond a certain level, you will have to enter into partnership. You see, even in ministry, we have partners, financial partners, prayer partners. We even have what we call partner ministries. Partner ministries. I can say that, I can gladly and confidently say that Breakthrough is a partner ministry. You understand? You see? As in, there has to be a partnership. But I'm not talking about the human one today. I'm talking about the divine partnership that we have with God. This is the same thing we refer to, or this is the principle we talk about, or that is behind any covenant or vow that we enter into with God. Any covenant or vow that you enter into with God, you are basically fulfilling this principle. You are riding on this principle of partnership. When you enter partnership, then you will share losses, you will share ownership, responsibility, and you will share even the income. I mean the losses. Losses, income, management, and what? And ownership. So, when we choose to be conscious of the fact that we are partners with God, this man, Paul, reaches somewhere and confidently says, as partners, as God's partners, you see? Because he knows he's a partner. There's things you will not say in the business if you are not a partner. There's a voice you will not carry in that business. There's an authority you will not operate in, a level of authority you won't operate in. You see, when somebody is trying to question, who is that one? Who is Marcus? Who is it? And then they say, it's one of the partners in this business. Oh, everybody keeps quiet. You keep quiet and say, hey, that one is one of the partners. Okay. Yeah. Even in day-to-day life, in marriage, your partner has a certain authority over you. She can say, don't do that. And you wonder, who are you? And the moment they say, that is his partner, you bow. Because this one is a partner. Let any other lady say the same thing, and you see. That's when you know the power of partnership. So every time we enter into partnership with God, there is a certain level of authority we carry. You understand? This is a certain level of authority we carry. There are certain things that will never happen, not until you are in partnership with God. You can be in a casual relationship with Him, and you will see a few things. But there are things that will only come after you are in partnership with Him. Now you see, Hannah knew God, isn't it? She used to go and pray. Every year they would go to Jerusalem. But not until she entered into partnership with God. 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 11. Not until she entered into partnership, she had remained barren. She was barren until the day she vowed to God. In other words, she entered into partnership. When she entered into partnership, then God shared the barrenness, the shame of the barrenness, and God could not share that anymore. You see, even in business, partners try their level best to ensure that there is no what? There are no losses. Have you heard of guys? Oh, maybe you could be one of them. People look for jobs, and for me, the Lord told me you shall never have a boss. So I tried to look for a job, and the 2 interviews I did, one of them, God even showed me who is going to get the job. To show me that He doesn't want me to be there. There's the way He wants me to be. So, but there are people who look for jobs and I mean they do so in vain. And then out of desperation, they will say, God, if you give me the job, if you give me a job, the first salary will be yours. It will go into your heart. It will go and do your work. And in just an instant, they get the job. Can you imagine? Now, look at 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 11. What does it say? 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 11. And she made this vow, O Lord of heaven's armies, if you will look upon my sorrow and answer my prayer and give me a son, then I'll give him back to you. He will be yours for his entire lifetime, and as a sign that he has been dedicated to the Lord. His hair will never be cut. As she was praying to the Lord, Eli watched her. Seeing her lips moving, but hearing no sound, he thought she had been drinking. Must you come here drunk? He demanded. Throw away your wine. Oh, no, sir, she replied. I haven't been drinking wine or anything stronger, but I'm very discouraged, and I'm also pouring out my heart to the Lord. Don't think I am a wicked woman, for I have been praying out of great anguish and sorrow. In that case, Eli said, go in peace. May the God of Israel grant the request you asked of him. Do you know that there are times when you just hear somebody say certain words and you say, God has done it for you? Because you understand the principle. You understand that this person has grabbed the principle. You understand that this person is operating by principle. And you know what is going to happen next. You understand? This is the same thing with tithing. The underlying principle is partnership. All the time people are struggling. How should we tithe or not? But if you understand principle, you will know that this is just a principle. You do it on principle. You understand? It's a principle of partnership. You don't even struggle with that. I hear, should we tithe or not? If you don't want, you leave it. For us who understand that, yes, we understand the principle behind it, we will do it, and gladly. You understand? Of course, there are people who misuse it and teach it badly, but that doesn't change it, the principle. You see? Now, this lady remained barren for all the time, until that day when she entered into partnership with God. The moment she did that, Eli prophesied. Said, go. God has granted it to you. God was not willing to share in the shame of her barrenness. Because now that she was in partnership with him, said, no, ewange tewaba bagumba. So, when you enter into partnership with a strong man, partnership with one who is strong, who has strong financial muscles, hey, you will find your business also going up. You understand? Yes. When you're in partnership, this is what even the Gibeonites did to Joshua. They realized they were weak, and these guys were very strong. So they masqueraded and came and pretended that they were coming from very far. All they wanted was to enter into partnership. And God honors that principle so much. We say God is a God of covenant. Those people that have understood certain principles, they do things easily. They can dare say certain statements, and they say, who are you? How can you say such a thing? But they understand the principle. They understand the principle. They will end up doing certain things that you think are even a sin. But for them, they understand the principle. So it is important for us to know that this principle of partnership is what gives us authority in some areas of life. Because I am in partnership with God. For example, as the principle of tithing, that we have talked about, one can sleep. Can sleep, and they are not bothered about certain things that are happening against their business or their families. They say, no, as far as finances are concerned, I am in partnership with God. Forget it. It was Kenneth Copeland who testified about a farmer, a cotton grower. Now, this guy was a very faithful tither. That's why it is important to tithe not as a law, but as what? Principle. Now, for them, even tithe is receipted. So when you bring tithe, they give you a receipt. So somehow there was a problem with the cotton. The bud was not carrying. It was not blossoming. It's supposed to open up to display cotton that is picked. Now, the entire plantation was closed up. And that means that would be a loss if it doesn't open up. Because it is only when it has opened up that you pick the cotton. So if it doesn't, then you have made a loss. Now it was time for it to open up. The entire plantation was not opening up. The guy came and said, Pastor, I don't understand. This is what is happening to my garden. And the pastor said, wait a minute. Are you a tither? I said, yes. He brought out even the receipts and showed him. They just thanked God and said, this can't happen to you. Why? Because he's in partnership with God. Do you know what happened? The next day, the entire garden was Because of partnership. When we do it with an understanding of partnership, it brings different results. Okay, you can do it ignorantly. You can do it as a law, and it will bring results, certain results. But when you do it as a principle, having that understanding, it will be a different level of results. Hallelujah. It is important for us to enter into partnership with God consciously and to move with God at a level of partnership. That's why some people have to say, God, I promise when this deal goes through, I'll do this. When this happens, our pastor used to tell us that, you come to God and pray and bang a deal with him and tell him, God, give me strength and wisdom to go and carry out this errand, and then, let it be successful. You invite him and tell him, come, and then you go work together, and afterwards, when you have got the money, you look at it and you're like, So for you you want 10%, for me 90%. I have issues, God. Let me first sort myself out. On the next deal, we shall see. And then, after you have finished all the money, you want to go back and shamelessly say, God, come and let us. When he said that thing, it changed my. I said, no, I will not be that kind of person. It is not good to be that treacherous. So, and I'm not talking about only tithes and money and what. I'm talking about, you see, even when it comes to marriage. Do you know that there are people who who exclude God when it comes to love issues? Love to be taken now. Some people can dare say that. To be taken man, to be taken katonda. But when you have entered a partnership with God in that matter, you realize that He will not allow you go with the wrong person. He won't. So if we choose to be conscious and we choose to enter partnership with God, there are certain things that will never happen to us because we are in partnership with God. Look at Abraham. He entered a covenant with God. So he entered a partnership with God. First of all, nobody would fight him and win. You remember when he went to deliver Lot? He went with was it 313? 413 soldiers from his home, but he was going to fight against 5 kings with their armies. Now, the other ones are 5 kings with their armies, and for you guys are 413. Oh, how can you win? But he won. He even took plunder. He retrieved who? Lot, and he even plundered. You see? Nobody could win him. Why? The guy was in partnership with God. Then he goes to Abimelech. Abimelech looks at Sarah and is like, wow, that one. And I don't know, I think they're what are they called? What is that kind of job where you are there and your work is to look for the beautiful spot beautiful girls for the what? For the king. Hallelujah. There were those that spotted for him and said, Hiya, Bambe, Wamureva. This is somebody you have not seen, Sebo King. Eh? And if it is during our time, you don't need to take him out there. You just show him the picture. You see, I took the... She's this auntie. Yeah. And my grandfather, Abraham, did not have... That time, he could not fight. He had gone to seek solace in exile. You don't go and do lugez in somebody's... No. Even the Kabakas of Uganda, sometime back, if you wanted your wife, you would not even say anything. They just pick the wife. And in order to console them, they had to be brainwashed and say, you are the most blessed man on earth. Why? Because you have loved the same woman with the Kabaka. You are blessed. And then he would console him with giving him, now the whole of Lunguja is yours. And then he would walk around feeling good. Kumbe, they took the what? Now, that's the same thing that used to happen to those guys. Now, Abraham couldn't do nothing at all. He remained crying in his heart and saying, my beautiful wife, my friend Sarai. But because he was in partnership with God, God would not allow it. Do you know where God goes to your enemies and just tell you Marcus, you are a dead man? It is God telling somebody, you are a dead man. Yeah? You are dead, I am telling you. It is God telling you, the king, you are dead. The guy woke up and said, I am dead. And it is God telling me I am dead. He said, why? Because you have taken another man's wife. Very early in the morning, I said, Sokoji, what have you done? You man, we gave you cattle, we gave you sheep. You were not saying that this one. Mananga, I feared, you see, I thought you would kill me. And no. Because now, what you do, take everything, even your wife. How else would this guy receive his wife back? First of all, he had even lied and said, yeah, it is a sister. So, where do you begin claiming? Which lawyer are you going to employ? You already lied, so how are we going to change that? I mean, I wish he had maintained the position that is my wife. You take him forcefully, but she's my wife. But here, the guy lied. So he sealed it off. But let me tell you, there was partnership between Abraham and who? He could not allow such a thing to happen to him. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. When we enter into partnership with God, even in financial matters, there are certain things that will never happen. You see, we see in Genesis chapter 28, verse 19 to 22, as I wind up. Glory to God. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, dear Holy Spirit. Hallelujah. It says, he named the place Bethel, which means house of God, although it was previously called Luz. Then Jacob made this vow. You see that? He's entering into partnership with God. If God will indeed be with me and protect me on this journey, and if he will provide me with food and clothing, and if I return safely to my father's home, you see all the terms and conditions he's putting there. So it is important to even know the terms and conditions when you are entering partnership. Then the Lord will certainly be my God. And this memorial pillar I have set up will become a place for worshiping God, and I will present to God a tenth of everything he gives me. And what happened? everything that he demanded in that vow came to pass. Even when Laban wanted to cheat him, you guys, Laban would have cheated this guy thoroughly. And that guy would have left with nothing after working for that long. You see, he started by playing with the girls that he was, the guy wanted Rachel, he gave him Leah. Then he said, you have to work for another 7 years. It was possible that this guy would not have given him Rachel. And you know what is funny? Is that he was his uncle, but he wasn't willing to let him prosper at his own place. But because of this partnership, he couldn't. He received wisdom. He received some rare kind of science. This guy, something will always happen to you. God will come through. Because you are in partnership with him, and he will not allow loss. There are times when we lose. I believe that as I say this, somebody has been questioning God about certain losses. And I know that you are understanding now. I feel like somebody is saying, yes, now I know. I know what to do. I know where the problem has been all along. Have you entered a level, have you reached a level of partnership with God as far as your finances are concerned, as far as your marriage is concerned, as far as your ministry is concerned, you see, let me finish with this. There are people who have kept themselves pure sexually, not because they were very, very strong, not because they didn't have feelings, not because the beautiful girls were not there, or the handsome boys were not there, not because they were not even brought to a moment of temptation that is beyond recover. Because there are times when you are too tempted and you cross the line. You see? And you say, go. Then when you're telling them, but how did you reach there? I say, Pastor, we reached there somewhere and I didn't know what happened. After that, I didn't know what happened. I just realized later. You see? Some people, survived all that not because they were too strong. No. Some because they had entered into a partnership with God. Do you know some people there to even tell God, if I ever sleep with any guy or with any girl before I get married, kill me. Kill me. My wife entered into it and said, Lord, if I ever get sexually involved with anybody before I get married, let a spear come from heaven and go through both of us. Both of us there and then. Physically, not even spiritually. Physically. Let people find us dead there. And she was serious about it. But I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when my wife tells me stories of how much guys wanted to sleep with her, you just look at her and wonder, what is right with you? Yeah, I can't say something. What is right with you? Do you know where you also accept and say, okay, you are somehow frustrated in life, and then there's a time when she was frustrated in life and she was like, okay, now this boy, I think I also love him. Maybe let me fall in love. And the guy fails to have sex with her. Just failing. He got up, zipped his trousers and said, Sanyu, go. And it has ended here. And it never... Does that happen to a boy? He will go back and devise means. And what happened? Why? What? I have to go back. But that was the end. The guy never even... Now, there was a time when another guy, two guys planned. And this time it was going to be a rape issue. Do you know where somebody, where Caesar calls Olive for Marcus? Oh, sorry for using that, but let it be. And then, but these guys have a planned deal that when you bring her to my house, you leave us. And she came innocently, entered the house, and then they just a bit, and then one left and closed the door. And I was like, hey, do you know when the guy was trying to rape her, his manhood started oozing blood. He's the one who said, get out of the house. He opened the door for her and said, get out of the house. For him, he asked, what's wrong with you? For me, I can't ask what's... Now, leave alone that, she gets born again. Okay, she was all along. She got born again when she was still young. But she got more serious in senior 4, actually senior 5. Now, there is a person, a born again, moreover. I think Satan was trying all the best. They were coming from an overnight. And the brother Kumbe all along was planning. He had his plans. Said, okay, let's go back. So she thought the brother was escorting her to her hostel. But somehow, she realized they went to another brother's rented room. And this one was like, probably because the other brother is there after all. When she reached there, this guy who pulled out the key to open. That's when she realized, hey, so this guy is the one who had what? And she enters. The brother locks the door. She could not suspect and even think it was. Do you know what happened? The brother begins to beg, kneeling and begging, please, I'm dying, please. And when she refused, he was trying to rape her. Do you know what had happened? In that overnight, unceremoniously, miraculously, she received her periods. Something she didn't expect. They came. So when she told this guy, I am in my periods, he had to even prove it. That's when she survived. I was wondering, how can you survive all that? Who are you? But she entered into with God. I heard somebody say, he was teaching and said, for me, I keep holding the private parts of my children and saying, no man will penetrate your private parts. Your private parts will not penetrate another until marriage. I said, wait a minute. That is very important and very serious. But will I wait for my children? Let me begin with myself. Let me begin with myself. And I vowed, I kept saying, no, Lord, no. I would hold my private parts and tell myself, so speak to them and say, no woman, except the one I'm going to marry. So I used to make that confession. I used to make it until one day the Holy Spirit told me, so after you have known that is God's will for you to marry, will you now go ahead? Because that is also possible. Hey, I had to adjust and said, until our wedding night. I didn't even say wedding day. I said wedding night. Because you never know what can happen in between there before you go before the altar. And let me tell you, God is very faithful. He did it. Not because I was kanyama. Not because I didn't have feelings. No. I know somebody's getting an answer now. Somebody's getting an answer now. At least if it's not for you, it is for your children. Hallelujah. Partnership. When you enter into partnership with anybody in business, we've said you share ownership, responsibility. We have to reach a level where everything that we are and what we have is for God. And everything that God has is ours. You understand? Even your finances, you need to partner with God. Partnership. The money that we have, or that you have, should not be yours. It should be God's. And yet it is all yours. Hallelujah. You own it. If you are in partnership with Him, you own it and He owns it. Because in partnership you share losses, He will not allow losses. He will not allow losses. He will avoid losses. And then you jointly manage them. So that means it is important to ask. Now, Lord, sentence affairs in Tuzukozechi. When He says, get all of it and give it to Pastor Ntale, just do that. Just do that. Just do that. I mean, there is you enjoy it. Sometimes at first it might not be that sweet. Yes. But yet when you reach the level of sharing the income, the benefits, my friend, that's when you will know. They will wonder, ono musajja yani tosobola kumubba. Hallelujah. Glory to God. Father, we thank you. We give you praise and glory in the name of Jesus. This is wonderful.